So if you're trying to grow your business and trying to make more money, then you probably heard that you got to build your personal brand. Most people who hear that, just like you, are thinking, what is a personal brand and how do I do it? Well, today, we're going to bring clarity to all of that, and we're going to give you the tactics and a playbook on how to do it in 2026. So I'm here, I'm joined with my friend, Neel Dhingra. He is the founder of Forward, and if you haven't followed him, you got to follow him right now at Neel Home on Instagram. You will be blown away by his content. He went from what he calls middle class broke to actually making millions, helping people build their personal brands through masterminds and through this business that he created. And all of it happened when he turned a camera around on his phone and started to film content and hitting record. So today we're going to talk about that playbook. So Neel, thanks for being here today, man. I really appreciate that.
No, but we were just talking before the episode, like this is years in the making.
Years in the making.
I think it's going to be really impactful. And just to clarify for anybody watching or listening, like, you know, when we talk about making more money, you know, that's okay. If you want to make more money, you want to grow your business. I believe that if you make more money, you can help more people. Mm-hmm. You can hire more people. You can create, you know, safety and security for your family. There's so many cool things because money's a tool. So it's first and foremost, like, it's not bad to want to make more money. Like, I feel like there are people who think, oh, that's selfish. No, it's actually the opposite. If you do this right, I guess you could be a douchebag and do it wrong, you know, but if you're doing it right, you're making a big impact. You're helping a lot of families in the mortgage or real estate business. So the first business that I went to multiple seven figures in and still have is mortgage and in real estate, and we do all that. But then I launched a second business as a passion project just by accident. And that turned into a multi seven figure business. But the reason why those things kind of happened easy, and it doesn't mean there's hard work. There wasn't a lot of hard work, there is, but the results became a lot easier is because of personal brand. So if you think about, like, I know you were going to ask, like, how to define it, right? Mm-hmm. Think about, like, the freeway when there's a bunch of traffic and everybody's just, like, you know, in a jam trying to get to work. And then there's that, like, HOV lane or, like, the carpool lane, and it's just open, free lane. When you have a personal brand, it feels like you're in that lane.
There you go.
So, like, everything becomes easier. You want to recruit, it's easier. You want to hire, you want to get better talent for your team, it's easier. You want to get business partners, you want to get clients. Mm-hmm. When you speak, you want to fill your events or your web. Everything. Like, everything becomes, it doesn't mean it's like there's not work involved. There is work because you have to build the brand, but it just makes everything else in business easier. And once I figured that out, I was like, bro, this is a cheat code. I want to stay in that lane.
Yes. So, okay. So you figured that out, right? I mean, you literally went from, and I remember when it happened, like I literally remember.
Oh yeah, because you've been watching since the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was COVID had happened. You know, it was like this golden age of content on LinkedIn or on Instagram or wherever you were doing it. But I remember when you started to hit my feed, and then watching what you were doing was just different than everybody's, right? And so that was really cool. But then I knew who Neel was. So when you called me and you said, hey, or you sent me a DM, which I still have, but because I followed your playbook on this, you said, hey, I'm doing an event. I'd really like you to come. It was very personalized. And you're like, yeah, I think Alex's coming. You know, some of your friends are coming. So you made it, you know, relatable. And then all of a sudden I was at your event, bought a ticket, you know, got on a plane, went to an event that literally changed my whole idea on a personal brand. That's what I want to do for the audience today, is really help them. So before we jump into it, what I'm curious about for you, because we are on the Breakthrough podcast, is what was that breakthrough moment that you were, you know, driving in you were stuck in traffic, and you keep watching, you know, the HOV lane right next to you go by. What happened that you were like, all right, I got to change the way that I do this? Was there a defining moment that you remember? Yeah.
So I was just thinking, you know, burnt out of being in the industry. I started in mortgage industry in 2023-ish, and, you know, had big run up into the crash, the crisis of 08, 09. The whole business collapsed. Me and my brother had this huge office, and then it went down to, like, us working in a closet, and we subleased the rest of the place out just to survive. And we got through that period, but I remember then the business picked up quite a bit. And 2012, 2013, 2014, it just kept getting busier, and we were doing great. But then 2018 came along, and if anybody's been in the business a while, 2018 was kind of a down year.
Remember that year? Like, it was like, oh, dude, it's the
I think rates went up by like 1%. And nothing, by the way, nothing compared to what happened to us in 2023.
We just didn't know what the floor was, you know. We didn't know how bad it could get at the time.
And so everything moved up, and then there was just mass layoffs. Things were slow. And I was just thinking to myself, dude, I've been doing this for a while now, over a decade. I'm burnt out. maybe I should do something else. I'm still young. I'm still in my mid 30s at that point. Dude, maybe this isn't for me anymore. I don't want to call people that don't want to talk to me. I hate talking to realtors who like stood me up for coffee, you know, like trying to reach out to clients. We were doing a lot of Zillow leads. So we'd buy realtor.com, Zillow, all the sync leads. All these leads would come into our CRM, and I was really good at systems, like all the follow-ups. But at the end of the day, it was just like chasing after. You're just a commodity. You're just a vendor.
Yeah.
I was just one of many people. But then I would see other people in my market who were crushing it. And I was like, well, what's different about those people? And I would get mad because I'd be like, bro, I'm a better loan officer than that guy. I know loans better. I know the guidelines better. I know the systems better. I'm just smarter. But they were making more money. And some of them
were they just better marketers?
More people knew their name.
Okay, yeah.
And so what I realized was it's not the best person who wins. It's the most known person. Like it's best. It's not best. It's best known. And I was like, man, how do I become more known? Well, at the time, I'm literally like deathly afraid of like speaking. You know, that was one of my biggest fears of public speaking. I was really good one-to-one, but I didn't want to put myself out there. I did not even have a social media account. I would be making fun of you, you know, at the Christmas party, be like, dude, you guys are giving all your privacy away to Facebook. Like, you know, you don't know what they're doing on, you know, I was just like just a data guy. But I remember just being like, okay, let me set up an account. Started to set up an account. Then I started watching people like Gary Vee and all these influencers talk about how, you know, social media is like the new gold rush. And if you have a brand, personal brand, you can do this. And they were talking about it for other industries. And I was like, well, how can we apply it to this industry? And at the time, bro, I think there was a few content creators. There was people in real estate, very few in mortgage.
Very few,
though.
yeah.
There was more in real estate than mortgage, but mortgage was like wide open. And so I just started doing it really bad. But even with those bad videos, 2018, 2019, I started to see my business grow. And so when we met, it was like 2020, 2021.
Agreed, yeah.
But up until that point, I had already 4X'd my mortgage business, got out of that rut. And so I guess the breaking point was just realizing like, hey, I don't need to quit. I need to quit what I'm doing. I need to pivot. So a lot of times people think you're stuck and it's a sign that you should do something else. No, it's a sign that you need to try like something else within the same industry sometime, you know? Like I like the framework of let's take a boring industry and how could we make it sexy?
Yes.
So like events I did that with, right? Events, super boring, mostly snooze fest for our industry for the most part, no offense, but like it's hard to do a good event. I'm like, well, what if we made them really cool and innovative and fun? Boom, success, right? Same thing can be done with content. Same thing can be done with anything.
Well, so when you go back and you think about that moment that changed everything, do you remember when you first went viral, or do you remember like when you finally, or when you got like the first lead?
Yeah.
You know, and you got the first taste of people knowing who you were in your market. You know, what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was like it was a feeling of respect. So it's like, man, people now want to talk to you. You don't have to chase them down. And I remember just getting inbound messages from referral partners.
Okay.
So I remember doing videos and getting some success with getting customers. And then people would watch the videos. And I was also sharing the journey. I think this is a big piece people skip. I call it build in public. People think you need to wait till everything's good or you're really polished before you put yourself out. No, you should do it along the way. Tell them what you're working on. So I would tell people, bro, I suck at speaking, but I'm going to do an event and I hope it doesn't bomb. I'm terrible at video. Literally, guys, it took me 14 takes to make this one video, but I'm doing it anyways. And so I would bring people along the journey of like, hey, I'm building a personal brand. And I'm also not saying I'm great or perfect. I'm not faking it. I'm telling you, like, dude, I'm struggling. So people kind of come along with that. Think about like a fitness journey. If you tell people, hey, man, I'm on a journey to lose 50 pounds. I'm on 75 hard. I'm doing people get behind you. They really like
It's a crazy thing.
You just went through it.
It's a crazy thing because you had an event here. How many people came to the event that we did for the talks, the signature talks that you did here?
Oh, that was like 60 people.
So 60 people in the room. Every person that came up to me cared nothing about any of my business, was like, how's it going on the 75 hard?
Yes.
You know, because I was like consistent with the messaging or whatever. But for me, it was like, give somebody an idea of what you're doing every day and, you know, share the journey. And even like, I think there's something to be said about sharing the journey, about how uncomfortable you are with, you know, even getting on social media. I mean, this is a guy, who didn't like social media. and now has become, you have hundreds of thousands of people that are following your content, hours upon hours of watched content across YouTube. You now have the podcast, everything, and you're touching so many lives. And then now you have these events that are happening. What do we have this week? How many people are showing up
we have
to
a
this?
mastermind, and this is a high level group of like 120 people. And so they came from the bigger event, which was 1,000 people.
Yes.
And so, like all these cool things happen as a result of putting yourself out there. So it's like opens doors you don't even think are possible. Like
what I'm trying to connect the dots with somebody listening that is super uncomfortable with it, that felt the same way as you, that doesn't like being on or is just lurking on social media and is not doing anything with it, but why it's so important. And somebody said this analogy. I like your HOV lane. But somebody at one of your masterminds said, I think it was at one of yours, they said, you got to think of it like these airplanes that are in the sky and the fog's going to roll in. And when that fog rolls in, those planes that are already in the sky are going to stay in the sky. Yeah. And the ones that are on the ground are going to stay on the ground. Damn. And so do you want to stay on the ground, right? So if you don't do it now, there's going to be a point of no return that it's going to be so hard to enter the game. And this is why I want to do this today, because we're entering the fourth quarter. Yep. There's a lot of people who are listening who are starting to think about, okay, we're going to go into 2026, which I felt like this year happened like that. And I wanted to give them the playbook on what they should be doing today. So if you're, in any sort of business that people are looking to make money from and can do it with their personal brand, where do they start? I mean, from your perspective.
So first is like, okay, yeah, we agree we're going to put ourselves out there. We're going to do this. It's even if you're uncomfortable, you need to just think about the people you're trying to serve. Mm-hmm. So we all woke up ready to serve people. If you're in a client business, you want to help your clients. And so it's not unlike doing that, but just putting it out there on the internet. And a lot of people are scared of the judgment. They don't talk about this a lot, but I've just noticed even people in our group, we'll go over the ideas. They all agree. We'll even shoot the videos. Some of them won't post them. Why? Because they're afraid someone's going to judge them, how they look, how they sound. And the truth is, you just kind of have to get over yourself. Okay. And that might be something that, is deeper rooted, and there might be like some therapy involved, maybe, I don't know. Like we all go through this kind of stuff, but you may just have a low self-worth thing. Mm-hmm. Like you might be not thinking, so that's a whole nother conversation. But I will say that regardless of the issue, if you just do the reps, it gets easier. Like I've even watched your comfort level on camera over 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. It's just changed dramatically. Like you can just pop up on stories, shoot a video. You don't have the cringe thing going in. Like when people first do it, you feel like this cringe.
Oh,
it's called camera cringe.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You got to cringe if you want to binge or so whatever they say, right?
So like you just feel like your content's cringe, you're cringe, like the whole thing, because it's just awkward. Yeah. But you've gotten over that. How? Because of reps. Yeah, reps. There's probably some more to it. But like at the end of the day, it's like, okay, take a challenge. Shoot the videos. Don't post them, but do one every day. At the end of the 10 days, you'll probably hate yourself a little less, the way you look and sound, and then you'll be ready to post. Now, if you're watching this, you're already posting. Now we need to take it to the next level. Yeah. But either way, wherever you are, let's get over ourselves. Mm-hmm. There's no spot. It's not about you. It's about the people we're trying to help.
I totally agree.
That's the first thing first, because you talk to people how many times about the strategy and they don't do it. Why? They'll tell you they don't have time.
They don't have time. They don't have the equipment. They don't, every excuse you could think of, right?
Yeah. And so, if you have your phone, you're good to go. We're going to go over the tactics on this. Exactly. But then B, it's not about creating more time. It's about making time for what's important. Mm-hmm. So I think about myself as a content creator first. I'll just tell everybody watching, listening, if you are doing the same thing every year and then years go by, nothing in your business is really going to change. Mm-hmm. Like you'll make some money. Hopefully you invest it well. But you're subject to the market conditions, the level of transactions, interest rates, all these things that you can't control. And so you're just on the roller coaster of the business world, the economy, the recessions, whatever. And so your earnings just kind of go up and down, but you don't get anywhere. There's no value. So the part that was probably a big turning point, breakthrough for me was realizing that, hey, dude, what's your sales pipeline right now? How many loans you got? How many deals you got in the pipe? Oh, it's low? Well, then you're low value. Mm. Well, what do you mean? I've been doing this 15 years. I have all this experience, all this thing. It doesn't matter. You're as good as this month's numbers. That sucks, but that's the harsh truth of this business, right? Mm-hmm. So when you have a brand, you have, yes, this month's numbers, but you also have this thing that's worth something. Your name is worth something. If your name can do 90% of the work for you, you're going to crush. Imagine like if just your name comes up and they're already 90% sold.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing. Like that's a huge advantage over the competition who's starting at 0 and you're already at 90. So think about that.
It's a huge difference, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge difference. And, you know, I'll share this with you. You know, I hired somebody of about a year ago, and they ended up becoming like our top performer, and they weren't like when we hired them. And everything about it was like it was the right person, right market, everything was good. And I asked them like, why did you end up like, what got you to come over here? When I thought back to it, it was like a really easy transaction. Like, how did you end up coming to work with me? And they were like, oh, well, I sent your Instagram to all my realtors and my friends and said, what do you think about this dude? And they were like, he looks really authentic, and you know, yeah, I like him, and so that was the deciding factor. But I never knew that, right? So your content or your brand will you know show up in places that you're not going to always see. It's going to be so transactional that they're like, hey, I'm coming to work for you because I saw the video you made, or I'm gonna you know do a deal with you because I saw the video you made. But that video you made could be the reason that they felt more comfortable doing business with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's where content matters and building your brand matters.
But you think about like a funnel of like, okay, where are people at in the process? Top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel.
Well, people don't understand that content. So I mean that concept. So I'm glad you're bringing it up.
Yeah, like where are people at? And if they want to, let's just use our business, real estate mortgage. Okay, are they ready to buy a house?
Yeah,
that's the bottom piece. Ready to write an offer this weekend. Like that's the very tip of the bottom. It's like 3% of the overall market.
Yes.
Well, we're all fighting like cats and dogs over that 3% because that's where we make money. That's good. We want to help
fast.
we want to help those people for sure. What happens when there's not enough people in that top bottom thing? The business kind of slows down. People leave. They give up. Well, did anybody have the bright idea to talk to the other 97%? Like just a thought, you know, there's a lot, I don't know, maybe like, so think about this. There's all these other people. Now there's some people who don't qualify. They'll never buy. That's fine. But there's a huge piece who are undecided. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do to keep in contact with those people and talk to them until they're ready to transact? And so you need a passive strategy to do this. I understand you don't want to make cold calls to people who are 6 months away from buying a home. You'd go broke. You're not going to get paid. But what if there's a video strategy, email, all these things, podcast, YouTube, whatever you want to do? So that's the premise is like, okay, if you want to succeed going forward, if you want to get to the next level, you need a brand. And it's actually easier than you think. You just have to pick a platform and do this. So the first step would be to think about, okay, which platform, well, I would say this, let's back up. The first step would be think about the person you want to serve. Who is the people you would like to help with your content? And I really want you to narrow it down to a single person. This is a powerful exercise I did later in the game. I wish I did in the beginning. If I did in the beginning, I would have gotten successful much faster. The first year or two of content, I got some results, but I would have had way more if I'd narrowed it down. So I was just trying to appeal to everybody because I'm like, I'll take anybody. I don't care. You know, I just need some people to follow me and work with me.
Because you're thinking top of funnel.
Yes. But what you wanted to do is like, okay, who are the people I want to help? Now, by picking this one person, your content will reach way more people. So let's think.
Are you going to go through the exercise? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm super curious about going through that exercise because I think a lot of people glaze over like what that really means.
Yeah, so they call it like picking your avatar, things like this. Okay, so let's just say I want to help millennial home buyers. Okay, cool. Male or female? Both. Well, no. Pick one. Like you have to pick one. Okay, and there's going to be like more than this in your audience and more people, but we need to pick one. Now, somebody might say, well, I want to help people within this range. Don't just pick a specific age, specific person. Okay, so I'm like, okay, it's a 38-year-old millennial guy. He's married. He has a couple kids at home. He makes $200,000 a year. I want to help that guy. His total household income is $200,000. That's like the person I want to help, and here's how I can help them. Or he makes $150,000, whatever. Cool. What is that guy doing? He's renting right now. What does he do all day? What does he have in assets? He has a 401k. He probably has some savings, whatever. Okay, so now I know this person. Let's name him. Okay, his name's John. His name's freaking whatever. Cool. Where does he live? He's in San Diego, California. So now you're thinking about this person. And so when you think about the person, now we can have a conversation and not make it like, the biggest mistake people make is they think they're talking to a large group of people. The way social media content, YouTube content is consumed is on a one-to-one basis. People are sitting there with you.
Okay.
It's a one-to-one. And it feels like not authentic, not personal. If you're just like, hey, y'all, hey, everybody, you think you're talking to a big audience. No.
I think, for the longest time, not to interrupt, but like, I think for the longest time, and I even catch myself when I'm doing content.
Yeah.
Like we go into, what did you call it? You said you're like a wrestler. You're like, you go like hyped up in your videos because I'm yelling or whatever, but it's because you think you're talking to an audience.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
so
there's good thing to have energy because the camera takes down your energy. So that helps.
But I think if you can flip it around and really talk to the person that you're trying to connect with, it'll connect with so many more people on a more personal level. There's people that for instance, you'll make a post, you'll do a post where you're walking and talking about something, and it'll be like, it's a great day, right? Like the clouds are out or whatever. I feel like you sent me that to me. Yeah, like I felt like that was meant for me, right? And that's magic when you can get that to happen.
Because now that's happening with you, but everybody's having that one-to-one experience. So now the one-to-one scales to hundreds, hopefully thousands of people eventually.
Okay.
So I would be like, think about that person's problems. Let's meet them where they're at. Well, what are the problems that person faces, and what could you help them with? Okay, well, this guy, John, he feels bad. He feels like he missed the boat on owning a home because he's renting right now. He feels like interest rates are too high, home prices are too high. He wonders if it's the right time to buy. You know, he has a story of his uncle or his dad who bought right before the recession and the prices crashed. He doesn't want to make that mistake. He's also worried about the economy and inflation and maybe an upcoming recession. So these are the things on his mind. Also, he doesn't have a huge down payment. He's only saved up this much, but he has a retirement account, so I'm not sure what he can do there. And then he's kind of worried about his credit because he had one issue a couple months ago, and it killed his score.
And you got this down.
Yeah.
Like,
So
this is like so far down.
Okay, so now if we knew about all these things, okay, how could we help with all these things?
You have an answer for every one of those.
Yeah.
That's a piece of content for every one of those.
And not
issues.
only that, it's like we can talk multiple times about the same thing. You know, how many tips do you know on how to get someone's credit score from 620 to 700? A lot of different ways. So if we're speaking to John and we're calling out his problems, now we can really address the situation. We'll be like, dude, if you're struggling with your credit score, I actually have a tip that'll boost you like 60 points in 2 days. Honestly, this sounds
and you
crazy.
can show the proof of it because you've done it a million times. Right?
Rescore. We've all done it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's super valuable. Guys, I want to share, you, like John, I want to share with you a way that you can buy a home even if you don't have the best credit. And did you know the government will actually help you with this? It's called an FHA loan, and you go into it like, cool. So you're calling out this individual, like the problems, but you're really thinking of like, I want to solve this issue. And so you're speaking to specific things. So that's just one content strategy. There's many others, but I would start with that. If anybody's like, okay, my content's not landing, or I'm not even doing this. If you start there, you'll have way more success because everybody else is thinking about themselves.
Yes.
In the video, where you're thinking about John and his problems.
Yes. I hope that the people listening will, or I hope you that are listening, I should say, right? Because I'm talking to one person. But I want them to go back on that and really listen to what you said, because that's really everything. How you build that avatar will change, your entire content strategy. Where do you see, and, you have an opportunity to consume content, not just for entertainment or for what you look at content for, education, whatever it is, but you also have this like group of people that you support, that you've coached as well. And so you're looking at their content, like how are they growing, right? You've seen mine.
Yep.
What do you think the biggest mistake people are making right now when they're on this journey?
So I think they might be talking about the things and not the outcome of things. Like whenever you're talking about, what you would like to teach, if you're talking about something in terms of the actual thing, what I found is that has a very, very limited audience. It's that 3% that are ready to transact, and maybe even smaller today. Everybody else doesn't care because they don't really know what that's for. So the biggest mistake is talking about the thing and not the outcome of the thing. So I'll give you an example, like I just did. People would talk about an FHA loan. Okay, well, what is that? What does an FHA loan do? It helps you buy a home, even if you have bad credit. It helps you get into the market. It helps you with low down payments. So this is a government solution that helps you with these things. it's called this thing, but that's later. Like people lead with that and wonder why no one's interested. I saw somebody the other day promoting like, non-QM 101. Nobody knows what non-QM even means. Like, or like, what does that mean?
Well, so how do you break it? Yeah, it's a really
so you
good
would say,
point
what is this solution? What is that problem that non-QM solves?
Yeah.
Well, it solves financing for people who don't qualify for traditional mortgages. So like here are programs that help you buy a home even if you don't have tax returns, even if you have non-traditional documentation, what are these things? Or did you guys hear about the non-QM program? Or did you hear about the XYZ solution that young people are using to buy homes today? Let me show you how this works, So did you hear about this? I like using observations because then people don't have to think of you as the expert. Why should I listen to you? You just make an observation and then you talk about the thing. So yeah, that's a huge mistake. I think the other thing is not making content for broad appeal versus small, like narrow appeal. So there's people who be like, hey man, I'm not growing, I'm not getting views. Well, that's okay. It might be a niche topic that's meant for a small audience. Okay. But let's just say you want to make that reach more people. We need a topic that more people would be interested in. So one quick strategy for everybody to do is like, what's your topic? Well, my topic is this program that helps people fix their or buy a home. Well, cool. What is a topic? Like I'll go through one that I just did. This is a great example. So I wanted to talk about buying an Airbnb. Do you guys own any Airbnbs?
Yes.
You do? Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
so you would know. Yeah. So let's say you and your wife Tracy want to make a video about buying Airbnbs because you know how to do it and you've done it. You want to show the success. Well, how many people are interested in buying short-term rentals? There's probably a good amount. But that is just limited to those people who are interested in buying short-term rentals right now. I'm going to show you guys how to buy Airbnb. Here's how we did it. Cool. Well, what is one of the benefits of owning an Airbnb? Just like, what do you think? Like, what are the things that help you?
What are the things that help me? Well, it's a huge tax, benefit, right?
Yes, tax benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many people, Chris, are interested in buying short-term rentals versus how many people are interested in saving money on taxes?
Yeah.
I believe that most Americans, adult age, are interested in saving money on taxes. So I have an example of this where I made a video about buying short-term rentals as a strategy for investing. It has limited audience. I made the same video about how young people are wiping out their tax liability by buying short-term rentals, and it did 1 million views.
Yeah.
So what you want to think about is like, if you want more views, if you want more followers, you need to find a topic that many people would be interested in learning about. So there's riches in the niches for sure.
Yes.
But you have to also think about how could you put your niche topic underneath the umbrella of something that would appeal to more people. So real estate, getting rich with real estate.
Yes.
Like that's bigger appeal. FHA loan, very narrow appeal.
Yes.
Government program that helps you acquire homes and get rich. That's big appeal. Like, so you have to keep making it more broad. And when you start thinking like this, you realize there's way more opportunity.
There's way more opportunity, but I think that's I think you have a gift in this, and which is why you coaching people is so, people who are listening that want coaching from this is a really good opportunity for them to get that, because I think when you can learn that language, and so let's say you have an idea, and I was thinking as you were talking, like I could have a prompt that makes me think broader.
Yes.
Right. So how do I make this, hit this conversation hit? And then once it starts to do that, it might be able to give me an idea that I wasn't thinking. It might not be exactly the way AI is telling me, but it's opening up my brain to other opportunities. But you have that. That's a really good
So you think about TAM. Whenever you're pitching a business, you think about the total addressable market. Anybody who's ever raised money for a company or looking at a business as a like how much opportunity, how much money could this business make? Like what's the total addressable market? So think about the TAM of your topic. If it's limited TAM, it's going to be limited views.
That's a really good point.
That is okay if you're talking to like, hey, you're a branch leader who wants to make more money. Let me show you the P&L, like whatever you guys talk about. That's cool. You just know it's a limited audience, but you probably would not expect that video to go viral.
No,
but you're expecting it to reach the right person who you can help.
Yeah.
But then if you do want to make a viral video, maybe make it about something else. Like you would pick a different topic. So topic selection is important. How you structure the video is important. I noticed big mistake people make is they're giving too much context. So I'll give you an example. In Instagram stories, you can talk about your day. You can talk about what's going on. That's fine. Cause even there, you should limit it because people's time is limited. They're going to swipe through really quick. But if you want to talk about topics in the feed, like actual reels, you would just want to get straight into it. So there's a lot of people will dance around the issue. Like, hey, man, it's been a super busy day and just got off the phone with a client and I want to share this tip with you. Well, what if we just started there? You know, like that whole intro could be chopped off and let's just go, this is a crazy thing about buying, doing this thing, or here's the tip I want to share with you. Like, let's just share that instead of all the context beforehand. So we think we need a lot of setup when in reality, the setup is meaningless. People don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care what you ate for lunch.
Do you find yourself doing that video and then just editing it, taking out because you need that sort of warm up, if you will, to
I think a lot of people
talking.
need just to get in the motion. That's a good point, and then you could just trim it off.
Yeah.
That's for the feed video. Now, if you're making a personal piece of content and you want to talk about what's going on in your life, that's different. You could set the table however you want. But I just think in general, we need to get to the point quicker, get to the punchline quicker. And I've noticed a lot of videos that fail, they get to that, but it's like 20, 30 seconds into the video.
Too far in.
So in some cases, you could start the video with the punchline.
Yes.
Like I've seen this on podcast clips. They'll take the bar, the best line, put it at the front of the video, and then do the explanation.
When you're in the middle of a podcast, do you find that bar? Do you know immediately what the bar is when you hear it?
I think you're listening to it and you're like, man, that was a line. That's a writer downer.
Line,
that's a screenshot of a slide. Those are kind of one-liners. And so you have to think about, okay, eventually as you do more content, you'll start to speak in sound bites. And that just allows people to pay attention to you more. The other concept that I think is really important, and I just had this come up, this is really cool timing. This morning I did a call for a HomeBot, who's like a software company that serves our industry, real estate mortgage. And they had me come on the call, and they had a bunch of their clients on the call, and they were talking about marketing for 2026, same kind of thing we're talking about. And I went over some of these ideas on like how you can reach people with your content more. And they were like mind blown, emojis in the chat. And they were like, man, this is crazy. I've never gotten so much value in such a short period of time. And I realized that like, bro, the bar is so low in our industry.
Agreed.
And so you have to think about like your chances of success and stacking the deck in your favor. Let's say you're a funny guy, you're a comedian, you tell jokes, whatever, cool. If you go to Hollywood trying to become a movie star, like what's the competition like? Stacked, bro. Like you can go to LA and you could be the funniest guy and you could struggle waiting tables for 10 years. Let's say you're funny and you want to be the funny guy in mortgage on the internet. Dude, you're the one person.
Yeah.
You could literally be you could be the top 3 funniest people in our industry right now on the internet.
Yeah.
Because so you have to think like, where could you stack, if you have a talent, it doesn't even have to be world-class talent. It just needs to be something.
Yeah.
And whatever that thing is. And I found, unfortunately, whatever that thing is for most people, they're hiding it. So literally the one thing that would give you the highest chance of success, you'll never put it out there. You never put that out there. You're just going to keep it behind. So I would encourage people to think like, where are your talents? What are your interests? And start putting those out there. Cause I don't even have that many, but every time I share one with my content, people just start to connect more and you start to get more reach with all the stuff. So these are just all tips along the content journey. And then we could get into like, okay, how do you turn this into clients? How do you turn this into prospects and money? But the first step is like making better videos. If we start there, then the rest becomes easier.
Well, so Neel, like what we're talking through though is, you went from something sparked your curiosity or you changed the way that you were thinking. Then you figured out you had to change what you were doing. And you went from I'll never do content, and that's stupid. What are you guys doing? To doing it. And then you figured out how to make money with it.
Yeah.
And then you figured out strategies on how to get from one to one to one to many.
Yes.
And so kind of shift into that a little bit, because I think what people don't realize is, I think when people think about, I'll get on a call with my team and I always ask this question whenever it's around like social media or branding, who's gotten deals off of Instagram, right? Yeah. So many people raise their hand, yet they'll stop putting, content out, right? They like do it and then they stop, they do it and they stop. And but I think what people think through is like it's always one deal. Like I got one deal from somebody that contacted me in a DM and I ended up closing a deal for them. And I think they're missing the point of being able to go one to many. Yeah. And so talk a little bit about that strategy for like you went into webinar, like people, I don't think people realize the massive opportunity with a webinar.
Yeah. So if you're stuck on, anywhere in business, a ceiling, you have to scale the number of people you can get into your business. Now, you can only serve so many. So people build teams. They can, and the best people in our industry have teams of people that they help. They have recruits. They have all kinds of stuff going. So that's how you can scale your business. But the selling mechanism has to change at some point. And most people are always in one-to-one. And if you're doing one-to-one selling, you're just going to continue to work and be burnt out. Like it's hard it's only so many calls you can make in a day. There's only so many doors you can knock on, so many meetings you can have. So what changed the game for me is switching my efforts from one-to-one to one-to-many. So what does that mean? Well, if I'm going to do a call with a home buyer to educate them on the market and why they should buy here, well, wouldn't it be cool if I could get 15 home buyers on that call? If I'm going to do a meeting with a real estate partner and give them some tips and stuff, and by the way, I still do one-to-one, but it's like we use one-to-many to reach the masses, and then you pick the people you want to work with one-to-one. But it just makes one-to-one way easier. It makes it like a layup. So and some people will work with you straight off the one-to-many, which is cool. That's how you can really scale this. So if I'm going to have a meeting with a business partner, well, what if I taught that to 15 business partners, right? Like it's the same hour of my time. And so when you think about content, like everybody here wants to spend more time with their family. They probably have a spouse who's probably mad at you for working too much.
Literally right now.
Literally, yeah. Everybody's dealing with this. We're all dealing with this. And the crazy thing that your spouse probably doesn't know when they're mad at you is that you actually agree with them. You don't want to be working as much, but you have obligations, you have pressure on you, you have to perform. And so you're trying to juggle, like you're serving two masters. You want to be this perfect person, but you also want to be crushing it at work. And so it's hard, dude. I get it. But the key is like changing some of the activities to be more efficient. So, this is the whole definition of like working smarter, not harder. And if you continue to just do the old school methods, it might work, but you're going to burn out. You might get divorced, who knows? Hopefully not. But you'll also it's just like a path to like a dead end. And so that's why I think of one-to-many as being the path out of that. So that's a big reason why I do content. So you have to think about, okay, if I'm able to speak to a couple hundred people with this video, if I'm going to do the conversation, why don't I just put it on a piece of content? And I think the part that you said earlier is like people who don't have time. They don't have time initially because it takes a lot of time to do it. What they don't realize is once you get good at this, it takes very little time. Like somebody's like, hey, dude, how do you have time to post the videos? I'm like, how do you have time to brush your teeth? Like content for me could be walking from the car to the front door on the way into the office. Like, guys, I want to share with you this, or, hey, here's something that happened. Or, and I'm talking about, quick tip. Like that video you said, I'm sharing what's going on in Vegas. And it's like, that was literally I'm going to a date night. I was like walking from my car to meet my wife for dinner, but there's, a 3-minute walk in between. That's a video. And so you get to the point where you can just pull it off in certain spots. That's why I love making like more than half the content now with the phone instead of having to get into the studio, do the scripting, like that's cool. But there's also a great opportunity elsewhere, just to do it on the fly. And you do this a lot too, where you're just posting straight from the phone on the evening walk,
Yes.
That makes it a lot easier. So the bar drops for the time it takes you to
But
do
that's the
stuff.
stuff that most people interact with. That's the stuff that I get the most views with is, because it gives people an opportunity to get to know me on a personal level. So let's talk about that for a little bit. I mean, I think mortgage content is boring. So if I go to somebody that I'm looking, like it's the first thing I do, first off, I think people have to realize that right now your Instagram or your LinkedIn, that's your resume, right? So if you hear about somebody, I think if we were talking and I mentioned somebody you had never heard of them, what's the first thing you do?
You look up their,
you look up their Instagram,
or you might
right?
even text someone their Instagram. That's how you refer.
Right? So you text.
I don't even have a business card. I just send you my Instagram.
And then so I look at the Instagram and I'm like, are they legit or not legit, right?
Yep.
And if I see it's all about low rates, it's all about, that kind of bores me, right? I want to know what they're about, who they are as a person. So I think that's a mistake that a lot of people are making as well, is just keeping it straight business. and not giving, enough about their lives. But when you started to do that, what did you start to notice?
Yeah. So what you're talking about is a great concept of like, okay, it's not just the informational content. If it's just information, people will, they won't connect with you. Like, and you could do just information, but you're competing with like giants. There's like people who literally are the best finance creators out there who are going to post 2-3 finance videos a day sometimes.
Yeah.
Perfectly done. They know they're hacking the algorithm, and like you're competing on that. Now it's a game you can play, but there's another game where you have stacked the deck in your favor, which is connection. So you have good information, but then I would say 70-30 or 80-20 at the highest level. You might have out of 10 posts, 7 of them would be teaching tips, helpful information. And when you say it's boring, it is boring to an extent, but you can make it better. You can make it interactive.
Yeah.
You can show numbers on screens.
Yes.
I talk about this, not just telling people, show them real things. To us, it's kind of boring because we watch this stuff all day.
All day, yeah.
But for the average viewer, they don't follow 7 people in real estate and mortgage. So they're like, okay, this might be interesting. You might catch people. Like I said, that tax video, like, dude, that's viral. People are sharing it, saving it, sending it to their spouse, sending it to their CPA.
Well, they feel smarter from it. You gave them a piece of information and smarter. Yeah.
Infotainment is a big thing. Information can be entertaining. But then the connection piece is where I've seen huge ROI. And you just said it, like, people really connect and remember. So 30% of the content is not business related. Now, I've seen people even win with 70-30, 70% personal, 30% business. Like, they're a XYZ who happens to do real estate.
That's where I want to be. I don't know why, but that's where I want to be.
It can be
I
a
just
strategy.
am not that interesting enough, or at least I don't think.
Yeah, you could be like, dude, I'm on this fitness thing. I do this.
Yeah.
I'm a life coach, whatever you want to be. Like, and I also happen to do this. That can work.
Yeah.
I do think you need to pick which side and kind of commit to a certain path, because otherwise it confuses the algorithm, confuses your whole growth pattern. But there's something to be said for like slower growth, but more profitable growth. The fastest way to grow would be just to talk about one thing over and over and do that for years. Like, dude, we have a guy in our group that did that, but it's boring. He even tells me he struggles. He's like, I want to talk about other things. Anytime I talk about other things, it bombs.
Dude, every time I open up my TikTok, there's a guy in there. It's like, he's either talking about renovations, or like non-QM. Like, there's now a non-QM guy.
Though some of those videos took off, it's just like run the play again. And Instagram will tell you, these platforms will tell you, hey, this is the topic that worked. Make more like this.
Yes.
And you should to some extent. But for me, I want to talk about more things than just that. So what I want to do is, I don't want to teach different things. I want to be known for one thing, but I want to be known for me. So I have this concept where I don't want to be well known. I want to be known well. And if you're known well and you've let people know the things that make you tick and some of your personal life, and you can share as much or as little of this as you're comfortable with. I know some people don't want to put their kids or family on. That's fine. Talk about other things, but you have to share something else besides the work.
How long did it take for you to get to there? Because that wasn't always the case.
Yeah, you just start dipping your toe, share a little bit.
I watched your journey on it, and it's like
you get more comfortable
start to share. Yeah, isn't it a weird thing? Like, it is a weird thing on how much more comfortable you'll be over time.
It's just like a numbing process. You get like, it's not a big deal. And then you start sharing a little bit more. You dip your toe a little bit more. And then I would say the biggest, and this is going to help people right now, if you could share mistakes you've made, challenges you've overcome. I know you shared publicly that you overcame problem with alcohol.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you had a huge problem with it, but you were like, man, I'm not myself. I'm not my best when I drink. So
here's what's crazy about here's what's crazy about that is like,
how many people connected with you because of that?
So many people connected, and even to this day, people will ask me to help them. Right? I'm like, I can't. I didn't know what I can only speak to what I did, but what I'll tell you is that even then, when you said, well, it really wasn't a problem. Well, it was a problem. I just wasn't comfortable telling everybody it was a problem until 2 years later. Right? Like, that time had to. Because you're very ashamed of, letting it become like there's a letting it become a problem.
And then somebody might have gone through something like this.
Yeah.
And they would they really relate to it. And they're like, man, I'm so glad you said it. You had the courage to talk about this. That really helped me get from out of my thing. So it's a huge thing. But somebody else is listening and like, Neel, I would never talk about that. Never. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. What is something else you struggle with business-wise? What is something you struggle with personally? If there's all wins and you're just trying to put out that you're this perfect person, people just don't relate. It's not real. So I notice a lot of people in my industry, in your industry too, like, they're scared to share success. Like, if they're on a trip with their family, they don't want to share because they're like, oh, this is a really nice resort. I don't want people to think I'm spending too much money. I don't want people to think I'm out of the office because then they won't send me deals. Like they're overthinking all of this. The reason why you don't want to share the successes in your life or the wins is because you didn't share the work. You didn't share the downside. So what about the week where everything went wrong?
And we all have them. I don't care where you work. We all had them.
Yeah, deals fell through. Maybe it's somebody you've been working on for bringing into the organization for months, years, and then they told you they're going somewhere else.
Yeah,
like
no,
happens. Shit happens.
Oh, it just happened, right?
Yes.
200 million out the door. You know, or like I remember sitting in my office and like 5 people walk out one day, you know, and you're like, you take that so personal, but you don't want to talk about it, right? Because you don't want to show the loss, but you don't want people. But I think that makes you real. I think that's what's important.
And you could do it in a way where it's not detrimental to your business. I don't want to tell people like, hey, my business is going to shit. Call me if you need me. Like that's not you can't do that. But what you can say is, look, man, guys, I'm just being straight. This was a rough week.
Yeah.
I don't know
I've
what
seen
happened.
you do that one before. Yeah.
Bro, it's like, man,
and I appreciate that.
A couple things went wrong. Dude, I got robbed like over the summer. I shared a carousel picture on so I literally showed our house turned upside down. Why? Not to get sympathy, but because I learned a valuable lesson that a lot of people needed to hear, which was, hey, don't take for granted home security. You know what? Like if you have an alarm system, it might be a good idea to turn the dang thing on. You know, like we get so comfortable in our home. You stop putting the alarms on.
Bro, I used to leave my keys in my car. Like, you know, I don't even think about it.
Your kids come in and out of the pool. You know, they just leave the doors open at night. Like it's summertime. You know, everyone's having a good time. Like, well, shit, you know, maybe double check. And so it just kind of was like a wake up call. And so, hey, if my experience can give somebody the wake up call without having to be robbed, hey, that's helpful. You know, it's not like, hey, poor me. But I just want to tell someone, hey, man, I'm having a rough week. I got my event this week and I just got robbed. And man, this sucks. But you know what? Maybe it's a sign that, like, you know, I needed to get my home security in order because maybe me getting robbed was preventing something that would have happened worse if I hadn't fixed this issue. So now we've got it all dialed in. It's all fixed, Fort Knox, whatever, right? But that was a lesson I had to learn. So I'm just sharing. But, like, you would be shocked how many people, like, hey, can I help you with this? I'm going to do this. Dude, people sent us, like, support. My friends, like, you call me, text me, whatever. Like, so you just realize, like, okay, there's power in just being real. And then I've just noticed people will support your wins more. So when I share that I'm on vacation, they'll be like, hey, man, enjoy the time with your family. Have a good trip. Nobody's like, hey, bro, I'm pissed at you because you're staying at the Four Seasons. They're like, dude, you earned it. I saw you working your tail off, man.
I want to know where you're staying.
Like,
I hate when people don't tell me where they're staying. I'm like,
hey,
where
is that? I want to go there too.
Go there.
But it's a conversation piece. And so, there's things you can share. You get more comfortable over time. But these are all chances to get lucky. So the other day I was talking about, hey, I posted something personal. Then the next day I posted something business. Then I shared a success of a client. Each time I do this, it's a chance to connect with new people. It's another chance to get lucky. We shared something about interest rate movement. Somebody was in the process of locking their loan on a Friday. They just got into contract, random follower. They asked if it's a good deal or not. It was not. It was just like, dude, this is crazy. I don't know where you got this from, but, like, I'm just telling you it's not competitive. And I don't want to mess up anything if you're already down the path, but if you want a comparison, I'm happy to help. Yeah, I would love to. Okay, that's luck, right? So somebody might say, hey, well, how do you get so lucky? Well, you create your own luck.
It's you like
increase the surface area.
The surface,
So now each video increases my chances to get lucky. Each email, each piece of content, each connection piece. Oh, dude, you like that team? I like them too. Or who you betting on this weekend? Oh, like that's my thing too. Now we're connected. You'd be shocked how many times small talk leads to big talk. All the time, bro. It's like,
that's it.
We're having a conversation about football. We're having a conversation about where we're staying at on this trip. In that same DM thread, 4 months later. Hey, dude, like, what are the rates at on this? Or, you know, I'm thinking about pulling money out of this rental, but I'm not sure. I need a HELOC, you know, because you're comfortable. The communication line is open. It's not awkward anymore. So I just think whenever you talk to people, you never just go up and just go straight to business. Like, hey, dude, how's it going? How's the kids? You know, and then you maybe ask you a question. So we need to do the same thing with content. What's the small talk of your content? And like you said, most people have none. It's just like, here's the business. That's it.
Well, most people will tell you that. But what we just talked about right now, I know opened up people's minds to, oh, I've been robbed.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Struggle with
working
this.
out, right? I'm
And we're
struggling
talking about
with
the
this,
worst
right?
things, but like
Yeah.
it could be something simple.
It could be something really what you
I've
ate.
had a rough week.
So what do you give
I
your
struggle
five?
with
What are your
food.
5 things that you
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about,
So
right? Let's
these are the 5 F's.
Yeah.
Food, faith, family, fitness. Fashion was one that somebody added. I'm not into fashion, as you can tell. I wear the same thing every day. But other
But
people
that's
are.
a fashion statement in
Yeah, there you go.
itself. Yeah, there you go.
But
right?
like I noticed you got the sneakers on today
Yeah.
with pink freaking shoelaces and a pink sweater, right? So like you're definitely into fashion on some level. I remember posting about shoes and you're like, hey, bro, return those. I'm like,
I was like, get rid of those
Yeah.
shoes now, bro.
but it's cool. Like this is just stuff you could talk about as
Yeah.
one of the 5 F's. And now if you're into something else, replace one of the F's with that. There's a guy, I was talking about this dude in Colorado. He's in our group. He hikes. He's outdoors kind of guy.
Yeah.
He gives the tips during the hike. The algorithm shows his content to other outdoors people.
Oh, wow.
It's just simple.
So now if I'm going to do a deal, I'm going to do a deal that's with a guy that's like me, that's hiking just like me. And I might be more connected with that guy than anybody else.
And I think we all do this already. Like think about why do people choose to work with you? Just make a list. Well, they trust me, they know me, they like me. We have shared interests. We get along, whatever those things are. So all I want to do is take those same things and make sure that they're in my content. Like if you're like, dude, the main reason why people work with me is because I'm a funny guy and they just connect with me and we just get along.
Yeah.
Well, you better make sure that you're doing that in your content because the same will be true for that. If it worked for these strangers, it'll work for these strangers.
Well, that's the biggest mistake I see is that like people that I know are very different I'm very different at times, so
It's
I
hard
think
too.
that authenticity piece will get better over time because I think we've, even just people who are doing content get more and more comfortable with it. So I want to talk about this because I think that it's important that people know that it doesn't always have to be a big video production, especially as we go into 2026.
Yes.
I mean, even think about what you watch. Think about what stops your scroll. And it's usually somebody on their phone just telling me a story sometimes. Yeah. And that's what gets me to watch them. And I'm like, well, I got to hear this was important enough for them to put this out in their car and tell me the story. I want to know what it is. But everybody thinks that they need to have perfect microphone, perfect lighting, perfect, all this setup. So give people some advice on what they could do to, really, stand out right now.
The first thing is, like I said, use the phone. Selfie camera is great. There's something crazy that's going on right now where, straight eye contact on IG or on social is a little awkward. Why? Because we're so used to watching people shoot the video with your eyes looking at yourself. It's slightly below the lens, just a little bit. But people are so used to it now because most authentic content is shot selfie mode on the phone. First thing you need to do is wipe the lens so it's clear. You'll notice like, hey, my video looks like shit. No, you probably just have dirty lens. Okay, so clean that first.
Yep.
Then it's lighting. So think about the light. Is the light hitting your face? If you ever put it on your selfie mode and you're like, man, I look like crap. It's not you. It's a lighting issue. For somebody, it might be you, but for most people, it's not you. It's like, dude, there's just no light in the room, or it's this harsh office light. Go outside, change the light, boom, all of a sudden you look not hungover. It's like, great. So, and then the second thing, the last piece of this is audio. Can people hear you clearly? So I just think I don't want people to work to watch my video.
Okay.
Right? When you see one of these videos, you can see them, you can hear them. If you had to turn it all the way up, you probably just scroll past. If the video looked like, I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect, but if you couldn't even see their face, it was blurry, you'd be like, dude, there's something wrong with my phone. Let me exit and come back. Like, you would start, you don't want people to have to think down on you because of the way the content looks. So don't handicap yourself. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm thinking like a 6, 7, something like that would be perfect. If you go like into the high production value, it almost looks like an ad. Now,
agreed. Yeah.
Some people, high production content is their look. It's their differentiator. Like, even in the studio we're sitting in right now, the content looks great. Yeah. We're in a really nice studio. So this can be quality can be a differentiator, but at the same time, like it might not, like for you, that's not important in the beginning. So I would just think get to a 6 or 7, you're good to go. The next thing would be like the location where you shoot. So having a place you do it. You said the car. The car is great because there's just light coming in. Especially if you have the windows, they can be closed, so the audio is good, but there's just a lot of natural light in the car.
Natural light. No one can hear me.
Yep. And then the doors are shut. It almost serves as a sound booth. So it sounds great.
Yeah.
Make sure the audio isn't connected to the Bluetooth audio unless the mic is
a really
in the
good
car.
point. Yeah.
Sometimes the mic in your car is trash, and then it's like
Yes.
now you've negated the audio. So the phone, especially these newer iPhones, are great with audio and video. So I would just do that. Now, next level would be talking to the back camera, which you do a lot of. The back camera on this phone is so much better than the selfie one.
Yep.
So I love doing videos talking to the back camera. In my office, I have a light, like a nice light. I have a good mic. But if I'm within arm's length, you don't even need the mic.
Yeah.
So,
And these phones are amazing. I mean,
yeah, that's great.
any iPhone is amazing if you're in an office or you're, I think it only becomes a bigger issue if you have it so far away or you're outside.
And then the thing you just brought up, which is this is really important. And then we could get into like, okay, how do we actually get people off the fence? Okay. But the last piece on the content is like, okay, one trend that is crushing right now is storytelling. You said when people tell a story, you want to watch to hear what happened.
Yeah.
So this is a great way to loop in people, keep them watching your video. The number one way you can go viral and reach thousands of people with your videos is if they finish the video. Like, dude, if you make a video that's 37 seconds long or 43 seconds long and majority of people watch it, it's going to reach a lot of people.
Okay.
The reason why your video doesn't reach a lot of people is because most people just scroll past it and then the algorithm kills it. Like there's a small group that finishes it, but most people, they're like, oh, okay, that's not for me, I'm gone.
Yeah.
So if you want to make one that goes crazy, just make it so people are watching it. And one of the ways is to hook them in with a good story. The problem is, I'll ask you this question. What bugs you when someone tells a story? Like what bothers you? Like if me and you are chatting or you're talking to someone.
Well, I don't know where it's going, right? If I or if I feel like they hook me and now they're going to give me a bunch of BS before they get to why I'm actually, like if they're taking too long to get me to get to the punchline, then I'm annoyed by that. So it has to be told in a really, that there has to be something to get me to want to listen.
Yeah.
And then I got to get to the punchline fast.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me there. And if they have to be a good storyteller. I mean, honestly, people know how to, there's good storytellers, there's bad. Yeah. And I think you have a really good framework on this that I literally teach around this.
Okay, so I have a framework for this, for storytelling that would crush for everyone. It's called the SPARK framework. S is the situation. So you want to set the scene really quick, 1 to 2 sentences. The P is the problem. What struggle did you face? Like what struggle did other people face? A, action. What step did you take? Specific step that you took. R, result, like what happened, include numbers if possible. And then the key takeaway is what you end with. What's the takeaway for watching this video? So like...
if you think about this entire podcast...
Yes.
It is based on that entire, that entire thing.
So you want to use the SPARK formula when in doubt. And so let me give you like a bad example. I remember a guy who was talking about how he lost his properties in the foreclosure thing. And he was like, yo, I was foreclosed in 2008 and it was really hard. But since then, I've rebuilt my business and now I'm successful. Well, I guess that's the story, but there's not much there to grab people, right?
Yeah.
And so like setting the scene, the situation is so important. So I would think about it like this. It's 2008, guys, and I'm sitting in my driveway watching them like foreclose on my home.
Watching the sheriff's department come and knock them out or whatever,
Or I'm sitting at home and I get the letter that we're getting foreclosed next week. Like home's been coming for auction. Like
I'm with you in that moment.
Yeah, and like my stomach sank. So like what's the powerful moment, statement, like the pivotal thing? Put that up front, like set the stage right up front, like and let them loop them right in, hook them right in. I think people like set up too much context and then nobody watches.
Yeah.
Now the thing you said is really important. Like people just ramble on. So this framework keeps you from rambling on. So you think about that story of like, okay, in 2008, I stood in my driveway watching people bid on my home. I was over leveraged and on 5 properties with no money reserves. And then I just ended up losing everything. It was a terrible moment. But then what's crazy is that was the moment that I changed the way I handle finances. I started tracking my expenses. I started doing this. Now, fast forward, I've been able to do X, Y, Z. And it all came from that pivotal moment. So, like, don't lose all your stuff to go through this lesson. Start doing this now. That's the takeaway for the audience.
Takeaway.
Yeah. So, like, there's a lesson in what I'm telling you. And you could go through this that was like a moment of something where bad happened, but it could be something successful too.
It could be so many things. It could be the deal I lost this week, the deal I gained this week. It could be.
And we even had this in our group where people were telling us all kinds of stuff. Like I remember one of the ladies who's like crushing it in mortgage. She's like, she talked about her autistic son.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dude, I never knew you dealt with that. And she was crushing it despite that. And it was just like, she's never told anybody about this, but she wanted to share because she wanted to share like something that's helped her, and it might help somebody else who's dealing with the same issue. Bro, comments are full of people who have the same issue as her. They're trying to work and hold it all together, but they have an autistic kid. Bro, it's crazy.
That is.
So it could be personal, business, doesn't matter, but use like storytelling as a way to get it across. Because when you think about storytelling, who else could make that video? It's like, dude, it's one of one. It's gold.
Well, you know, people listening, you know, most people have had a story where they helped a client that never thought they can get in a home before, or was told no by somebody else that just didn't, you know, do the income right. Or everybody has a story that happened this week or last week that they can pull out that same framework and start to tell their story. And I just don't think people are doing enough. So if you're listening and you're interested in getting that framework, DM us
Spark. Yes.
DM us Spark on either at Neel Home or on my my Instagram.
Yeah, we'll send it to you.
And we'll send it to you.
And I can give you plenty of examples. Like, we don't have time to get into all of them here, but like, there are so many examples of how you can apply this to your storytelling. And just keeping it on a formula, we'll just keep it on the rails. You can also use AI. So I love using ChatGPT or Claude and just word vomit the whole thing. Just tell it, like, here's the story I want to tell. Help me refine this into an effective social media post. It'll do it in writing. Now, this is a great hack, Chris. Like, people who are afraid to shoot the video, maybe they're not camera ready, or you're like, Neel, Chris, I get it. I'm supposed to do video, but I'm not doing this shit. Okay, cool. Just do it in writing. It's so powerful. Just write the words.
Writing is so good. I'm getting so much play on LinkedIn with writing. Like,
so LinkedIn writing, Facebook feed writing. The other way on Instagram to do it is Instagram's a visual platform, video and photo. Well, you can make written posts in the feed on like a carousel. So you would do like one image, start the story, then the images.
Canva, guys. Super easy, super cheap, super easy. Canva.
So we just went over this with my group where like there's different ways you could do photos with text over it. You could have video with just B-roll, which is like, say it's just B-roll of you and I chatting, and then there's some text over that. With music, crushes. So there's so many ways to execute without you having to sit and talk to the camera.
There's a way. I mean, just do it, right? Just get on. So, Neel, you have different variations and levels of the masterminds and the coaching groups that you do. Which when you go this full, like, starting from the moment that you came to let me just get on video and changed your business and mortgage to now you're helping people do this. How do people connect with you and get into one of these masterminds that you're doing?
Yeah, I think the first thing is just like come to an event. We do our big event every summer. It's called Forward in Vegas. We also do smaller, like, niche events throughout the year. I'm speaking at like 20 to 30 different places throughout the year. So I always post on my Instagram. If you're in the city, come to the event, say hi. So that's just the first step. But then we do have a program where we can help people just get started, and you can just become a member of Forward. And that's our content accelerator group. And people can learn how to like make content. We do a bi-weekly call. There's scripts, there's ideas, frameworks.
That's
sharing.
where most people, I think that's like the biggest, put your foot, if you're just looking at putting your toe in, that's where you start, right?
Yeah, that's the best place to start. So just go to my Instagram. You can get the link. It's right on my link in bio. You can also get like free information. I have a weekly email I send out. Like, there's all kinds of resources. But I think the main thing people need to realize is like, hey, you and I, like, we're doing this podcast. People might think, oh, this is easy for them to say. What about me? I don't have time for this, do this. You'd be shocked. Like, I wish people knew how bad I sucked, Like, I'll show people videos of how bad I suck at these things. Dude, I'm worse than somebody watching or listening, and they're like, well, yeah, it's easy for Neel. I'm like, dude, it's not easy, but I got over it. And you can too, Like, think about all the people I've been able to connect with, all the lives impacted, all the business success. Yeah, there's a lot of financial success along the way. But honestly, I get more fulfillment from Forward stuff because it's like people coming up to you and saying, bro, you changed my business. I'm a much more confident person now because of what you said. Or, dude, on a personal level, people have told me, you saved my marriage. Like, all kinds of, like, not just business, but life, the whole thing. And it's all possible because, like you said, I have the courage to just record, post the video. And I just think, like, hey, there's people I've connected with because of a single piece of content. And what would have happened if I didn't post that video? I wouldn't know that person maybe, right? So you're just one piece of content away. I know it sounds cliche or cheesy, but dude, it's so true. Somebody watched one video, then they triggered them going to watch other ones. Maybe it got served up in the algorithm. Maybe it got forwarded to you. And most of the time, bro, it's a video that I thought was a dud.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, nobody's interested in that video.
Boom.
And it's like, oh, that was the one that helped somebody.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you impact that one person, it leads to more. People share it, and then all of a sudden you have momentum. It's just something that compounds over time.
Heck yeah, man. Well, look, if you guys connect with Neel, you know, absolutely mention that you got this from this, you know, from the Breakthrough podcast. Neel and I have been friends, you know, for 5 years now, and he's helped me with so many aspects of my business. You know, the way that I present information at a corporate level has been changed because I've been in a room with people like Sharon and people that you've been able to introduce us to, that really changed the way that I look at like how I podcast, how I produce content, how I connect with people. So thank you. And thank you for doing this. I know you're busy. Neel's doing this today. And we put this together like a few days ago. And you're doing a huge mastermind tomorrow. So the fact that you're giving me time today means a lot. So thank you. And we all appreciate it, man. So I can't wait to have you on again.
And then, bro, proud of you for doing all the things you're doing in business. This is awesome to see. And just like you said, that was probably the biggest improvement I've seen is just the way you communicate, video, content, like meetings, speaking on stages. Just that in and of itself is a huge win. So,
thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah, 100%.